What is going on, YouTube? This is Jim back with another review. Today talking about a PlayStation VR title, Firewall 0 Hour. Now, this game has been out for quite some time and it was actually available for PlayStation Plus a couple months ago. I finally decided to play it today. I don't really know why. I guess because VR is kind of cumbersome. I haven't used it in a while. Plugging it into the console, making sure all the controllers are charged, getting my headphones out. I have an added problem, two added problems actually. One, if you guys are not aware, I have very limited vision in my left eye. When my left eye acts up, I don't play with VR at all because the screen is right in my face. And at times it kind of is distracting, obviously. The other reason is when you're wearing glasses, sometimes PlayStation VR doesn't always behave very well. Now, thankfully, and I've done a video on this before, PlayStation VR is very accessible for people with glasses because when you put the headset on your head, the screen you look out, you can do this back and forth at a pretty good length. So you're not gonna feel it smashing up against your lenses. I have more boxed frames, so they stick out from my face a little bit more. Even with these frames, I have absolutely no issue using PlayStation VR. I should also mention I'm nearsighted, and I also have my left eye issue, so I have a litany of problems. Guess what I'm saying is if I could use VR, anybody could use VR. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit less about the PlayStation headset and that kind of cumbersome experience. Let's dive into the review proper. Now, Firewall 0 Hour is a tactical shooter, and I love everything about this game. It is really, really a lot of fun, and there are no buts. I actually genuinely enjoy this game. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about it today because I don't feel it got the attention it deserved. And that's partially why I wanted to do this video, partially because I see myself taking a break from Modern Warfare from time to time and jumping into a more tactical-based shooter. And this game definitely draws on that itch. It definitely also borrows a lot from other tactical shooters in the genre. And while it doesn't do anything overly original, I will say the inclusion of 4v4 in virtual reality definitely does change the flow and definitely does change the experience of the game. So by default, I'm looking over here for my props, you're gonna be using this, your DualShock 4 controller. Now, it's gonna act just like a regular controller with one exception. When you want to aim, your crosshair is gonna be your light bar. So if you're walking around using your left analog stick to look and your right analog stick to turn, and you're just standing there or sitting down playing VR and you want to aim, you're gonna have to do this. Unless you're good at holding it, you can't see it's below the camera angle here. Unless you're holding the controller square like this down in front of, I guess naturally would probably be your waistline, maybe a little bit lower depending on if you're standing and with your shoulders or if you're sitting maybe comfortably somewhere in that area. This needs to be square with the screen. That is the biggest problem with this game using the standard controller. A lot of times you're gonna wanna use iron sights because they look really, really good. You're gonna have a holographic overlay. You're gonna have the red dot, which tells you when you can line up those sweet, sweet headshots. The problem is with the old DualShock 4 controller, you're gonna have to do this because you're gonna be looking down your gun. This replaces your gun. So when you wanna do iron sights, you're gonna do this. And I naturally close one eye. You don't have to, but I like to, even in virtual reality, it helps me aim. And you're gonna wanna hold it like this. And as you're walking around corners, you're gonna do this. And let me tell you something, that sucks. It's incredibly uncomfortable to play and move your controllers like this. It's a very unnatural feeling. But this is the standard control type, and the game, thankfully, accepts controls from my other prop here, this bad boy right here. This is the PSVR aim controller. They actually, I don't know if they do anymore, they actually sold this in a bundle. This works infinitely better, and I would argue if you do not have this controller, you're not going to like this game. As a matter of fact, I would go so far as to say, don't even worry about playing the game until you get one of these. This is not a cheap toy. I think this ran me, I want to say $60 or $70. I bought it as part of a bundle with a previous game. I will tell you this thing is worth its weight in gold on a tactical shooter, and I'm going to tell you why. It's got the control stick here, and there's another control stick here. So when you hold it, you have your thumb for your movement. You have your left thumb for your, for movement, and then this is for your strafing and stuff. And when you want to shoot, you pull it up like this, and this just feels normal. This feels like a gun should feel. As you're walking around corners, you're looking right down the front of this thing, and it will feel really, really good. There's some really good tracking in this game, incredible tracking, so much so that you're going to be able to, if you want to be an acrobat, you're going to be able to do some really phenomenal things. So unlike traditional games where you're moving and you're aiming, and remember, this is your aim, right? I just told you you're going to aim like this. When you're wanting to move, normally you're going to, in like a normal first-person shooter, and you want to circle strafe, you're going to play with your left and right analog sticks so that you can move your character like this. And that's strafing, right? You're going to strafe around corners like this. You're not going to like do something like this. You're not going to come down a hallway like this and then shoot and then walk back like this. You're going to naturally ease into things. Where this experience really begins to shine is that it supports this. And more importantly, it gives you a play area within a virtual reality grid in which you can move your character around freely by moving your own body around freely. So if you're shooting down a hallway and you want to duck, there is a crouch button. Or you could actually crouch and lower down. You could aim your gun up over things. You could poke it through a window and look around and shoot below you. Let's say a guy's like on a lip below you. You can reach the gun through and aim down. You can peek up over because that's what virtual reality is. And it works so well in this game. The levels you're going to play in are definitely very well fleshed out. There's some really, really tense areas where you're walking very slowly. You may hear footsteps around. You may hear guys reloading. And you're going to just kind of take your time, walk slow, open doors slowly, kind of peek through, scan for things. And then when the action comes, it comes hot and heavy. Very, very similar to Rainbow Six Siege. You are not a tank. You are not a bullet sponge. You will die incredibly, incredibly rapidly. And there is a revive mechanic, assuming that you're down but not out. But most of the times, enemies are going to make sure you stay dead. And you're going to take turns attacking and defending objectives, doing this back and forth on these 4 versus 4 battles. And I'm going to put this gun down before I knock the camera over. It's really, really cool. There are different characters to unlock. There are different guns to unlock with different attachments. There are different pieces of tactical equipment you can use. And you're going to find what works best for you in your given situation. I really would only criticize this game on one thing, and it's nothing to do with PlayStation VR. It's nothing to do with the limited capabilities on that budget PlayStation VR experience. And, you know, it looks more like a PlayStation 3 game than a PlayStation 4 game, but it's still pretty enough. It's that the loading times and the whole process to move through a match are incredibly cumbersome. So when you load up a game, you go into a lobby, and there's actually a pretty vibrant community. Surprisingly enough, a lot of the players who play this game must be locals to each other, or they all agreed to get on at the same time, but everybody was incredibly friendly, seemed to know each other, talked about strategies from what the other team was doing because they have played with those people before. So unless this community is like 10 hardcore players, it just felt very homey. And they were very, very friendly to me. They took me in. I made a bunch of new friends last night. I got a bunch of new friends on PlayStation so I could jump in with them. The nice thing about PSVR is it's got that open microphone so you can just talk freely and coordinate strategy. You're going to want to do that. But the criticism is In between these matches, it kicks you back to a lobby with another loading screen where you wait another minute for people to change gear. And most people aren't changing gear because you've already picked your gun, you've already picked your loadout, let's just go, let's play. And it's like, you load in a game, you play. There's a really good chance early on you're gonna die very quickly because you have no idea what the hell you're doing. And when you die, you're dead, obviously. You will be able to teleport, just like Rainbow Six Siege, into other cameras, and you can freely look with the headset and track and try to call out and ping and stuff to help your teammates, which is kind of nice. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense from a gameplay perspective, but I guess it gives you something to do when you're dead instead of just sitting there twiddling your thumbs, because you're gonna be twiddling your thumbs after the match is over. Whether you win, whether you lose, doesn't matter. It's gonna kick you back to the lobby and you're gonna wait another minute for the game to load up. And it does really start to wear you out after a while. It's very monotonous and it takes a very long time to get through multiple matches. If you want to just sit down and play a game like Call of Duty, something I'm absolutely obsessed with right now, you're going to be able to jump into match after match very, very rapidly. Yes, it'll put you back in a lobby for a couple, maybe 20 seconds or so, and then it's going to throw you right back into another game. Not with this game. It's going to take a long time to churn out. But ultimately, I think it's worth it. It's definitely a lot of fun. It's a game that I will definitely be spending more time with for sure. And it does scratch that tactical itch. And again, when you've got this controller, it really does change that experience altogether. But I recommend it. I think it's a fun game. I think you should check it out. Maybe a lot of you guys already picked it up for free as part of PlayStation Plus. I think it was 2 months ago. If not, I think it's worth it. It's definitely worth the bundle with that controller if you could still find it. But if you can't, that's okay, because I think you could probably still get the controller as a standalone without the bundle. And it does work on some other games like Farpoint, which was a phenomenal first-person shooter experience. And I'm sure there's others as well. So I recommend this game. I just wanted to give a quick shout out for it. Check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video review. I know I kind of talked a little bit about VR again, more from just a holistic perspective and not so much on the game at the beginning, but I wanted to give you guys a complete picture. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.